Shawn Rhoden at the 2018 Mr. Olympia versus Flex Wheeler at the 1993 Mr. Olympia, where he was placed second to Dorian Yates. When talking about Flex in the 90s, I believe that his 93 version was the best ever. He brought incredibly symmetrical and aesthetic proportions which flowed perfectly and earned him the Sultan of Symmetry. The front double biceps shows that both have the wide chest, shoulders, lats, and the narrow midsection which grant them an impressive V-taper. Shawn might be wider in the lats, but Flex biceps were among the best in the 90s. His arms were massive, well separated, and very aesthetic. Both have tight midsection and ripped six-pack abs, but Flex has the more aesthetic midsection and doesn't have the bulge Shawn has in his lower abs. Both have well separated quads, but Shawn definitely has the more massive thighs overall. They both look impressive, but when it comes to the biceps pose between these two, then Flex would win it. The front lat spread shows their great conditioning with the striations in the chest and the shoulders. They both hit an impressive pose making use of their width. Shawn looks more impressive with his wider lats, so he would win this pose. The side chest shows the great conditioning they both have in their ripped chest and shoulders. Flex looks more aesthetic with his lines which flow perfectly and the way he hits this pose, but Shawn looks more massive and his chest looks thicker and more huge overall. Shawn's thighs and glutes are better ripped and conditioned, so he would win this pose too. The back double biceps shows that although Shawn might be having the wider lats, Flex has the more symmetrical and the more complete back overall. He has the better arms, the more rounded shoulders, the better ripped and more aesthetic traps, with the better defined lats and the more complete lower back. Shawn definitely has the more shredded and ripped hamstrings and glutes, but overall, I think Flex would win this pose. Although tanning and lighting are different, you can see that Flex has the superior back with his more powerful arms, better ripped and conditioned traps, rear delts, and more complete lower back, which would give him the win in this pose. The rear lat spread might be Flex's least impressive poses, as he didn't hit this pose properly. Although Shawn is not that powerful in this pose either, I think he would look more impressive than Flex, with his superior ripped hamstrings and glutes. We have to skip the side triceps comparison because there are no side triceps pictures for Flex from this contest. But we all know that he would win this pose, because Shawn's triceps are among his least impressive areas. Now the abs and thighs shows that both have small waist and incredibly ripped abs. Flex, in my opinion, has the more aesthetic abs, with the better separated arms and superior biceps. But Shawn has incredibly ripped and cut abs, which might be even more ripped than Flex's. Although Flex has well separated and striated thighs, Shawn's quads are still more impressive with the size and the conditioning he brought on stage last year. Flex definitely looks more aesthetic and symmetrical. But from a pure bodybuilding perspective, considering size and conditioning, Shawn would win this pose. The most muscular shows that both have incredible conditioning with the striations in their chest and shoulders. Notice that they both have similar traps structure, with Shawn having the wider chest. Both have powerful shoulders, but Flex definitely has the superior arms. Both have ripped midsection and well separated and striated quads, but you can see that Shawn's quads are more huge. Here is another shot which shows that Shawn is wider in the shoulders, but Flex has the better arms. I think Flex's shoulders look more aesthetic and symmetrical, but Shawn's shoulders might be more massive as we saw in the side chest pose. Both have incredibly ripped abs and well separated and conditioned thighs. Now, if we want to talk aesthetics and proportions, then Flex would easily win this pose. But size and width are in favor of Shawn. And remember that although Phil has among the best, most muscular poses ever, with incredibly powerful arms and shoulders, that wasn't enough to save him from losing his title. So Flex would win the front double biceps, the back double biceps, and the side triceps. Shawn would win the front lat spread, the side chest, and the rear lat spread. The abs and thighs could go either way, as Flex has among the greatest and the most aesthetic midsections ever. But Shawn was incredibly ripped and conditioned last year, and definitely has the better thighs. The most muscular could go either way too, because they both have powerful chest, shoulders, and traps, with Flex having the superior arms. But we can't deny that Shawn is wider and more massive overall with incredible conditioning. I think that Shawn would win based on today's standards. But I definitely don't agree with those who say that Shawn is a more developed version of Flex. This is far from being true. Flex had the better arms, the better upper back with superior symmetry and proportions, while Shawn definitely has the more massive quads and the superior hamstrings and glutes. So each has his assets and weaknesses. That was all for this video. Thanks for watching, and have a nice one.